All right. And now, a live, I guess, reading of Sword Art Online, chapter 16.5. This is fucking real. Oh, I can't. Yeah, here we go. Asuna plopped down naked on the sofa and glared defiantly at me. Kirito, hurry up and take your clothes off, she said in in an authoritative tone. What? We're continuing? It would be stupid if we stopped here. I hurriedly complied. Opening the window indicated by Asuna, I toggled off the option buried deep within the menu. Because of the hurried start, there was no romantic mood to speak of. Sitting on the bed, which was slightly too small for the two of us, we slowly did as much as the system would allow. The dim blue moonlight filtered through the window, casting complex shadows on the bed. Since Salemburg has no marketplace, the townspeople disappear at night. The only thing that I could hear was the faint whispering of the lake, and my alarm-like heartbeat which seems to echo around the room. By this time, Asuna and I had removed all of our clothing. We had been kneeling on the bed in front of one another for about 2.5 minutes. I couldn't read Asuna's expression as she balled up her fist on her knees and looked down. I thought that I should probably be the one to take the first action in this situation, but not being able to predict the outcomes of any of my choices, I sat out petrified in silence. Oh my god. This is bad. Okay. I considered what would happen if I were to yell out, sorry, and re-equipped minimal clothing at Mach speed before escaping out of the room, which he'd say, I guess it can't be helped, and forgive me when we meet again tomorrow. There's no way she would. Remembering back to the distant past, I was only 14 the first time that I ever logged into SAO, the winter of 8th grade. I don't want to really recall how I was at the time, but I sacrificed all of the sexual energy that starts to awaken in all boys around that age in order to immerse myself into games. Damn, what a gamer this guy is, you know? As a result, I had never been in a situation where I would be alone with a girl in her room. Obviously, I had Obviously, I had also never been naked with a girl before. To tell the truth, I would have liked for Asuna, who I thought was probably a few years older than me, and thus had expertise in this area, to take the lead. However, it seemed that everyone in SAO, including her, viewed me as being older than I really was. Since I had never denied any of it, there's no way that I could actually say to her. There's no way that I could say to her in this situation, sorry, but I'm actually. I strengthened my resolve. Even if I didn't have the knowledge or experience, I had never loved or had such intense feelings for someone like I have for Asuna. Ever since SAO started, there were numerous times where I was in a situation where I told myself, you can't run away from here no matter what. But here I had to muster up greater willpower than that as I extended my right hand and moved my body forward. My fingertips softly touched the gentle curve that was Asuna's shoulder. Her body quivered sharply. I slowly traced a path from the line of her collarbone to the nape of her neck. Okay. Asuna let out a soft moan as her eyes closed. The blood rushed to her cheeks and her eyebrows furrowed. For some time, I watched Asuna's responses in secret delight as I touched her all over the place. It's fucking creepy, dude. Oh, God. Okay. Slightly excited by her fresh reactions, I went a bit overboard as I kept my fingertip at a point where I was just barely touching her skin and continued to slowly glide smoothly across her skin. I crawled down her arms, which were firmly hiding both breasts, circled around her stomach, and reversed direction up her arms again. Ah, oh. These are fucking moaning sounds. What the hell? Um. Every time my finger moved, Asana's body would shake and a soft moan would leak out. After caressing her entire body, I would put my right hand's finger under her small chin and lifted her up. With my left index finger, I diligently traced her wet, shining, cherry-colored lips. No, not just your finger. A, s- A softly blushing Asuna opened her eyes slightly and looked at me pleadingly. Kiss me. Dot dot dot. Wait, is that just silent? Like I silently moved my face closer. Asuna's lips parted slightly as if they could not wait any longer. But instead of fastening our lips together, I softly poked her lower lip with the tip of my tongue. Mmm. as if as if seeking me out, Asuna stuck out her tongue, but I restrained myself and moved to avoid her before softly touching her with the tip of my tongue. Ah, ah. Asuna let out an irritated sound of both anticipation and need as I abruptly plunged my tongue into her mouth. Oh! All right, full context right here, or full transparency rather. It's fucking 3:30 in the morning. I'm in my fucking basement trying not to wake anyone else in this house up, just reading this fucking bullshit. Okay, yeah, all right. Here we go. Where was I? Asuna let out an irritated sound of both anticipation and okay, yeah, we got that. I violently swished my tongue around. The tactile senses in SAO are, just like the sense of taste, pre-programmed and activated in accordance to the situation. When you consider this, then the only conclusion that one can draw is that the feeling of a deep kiss must have been programmed in. Well, it's not like I've ever really experienced that in real life, but an indescribably bewitching feeling assaulted my nerves. My tongue entwined Asuna's and I forcefully sucked on it as I felt all the strength go out of her body. Her eyes were moist and dim and she was breathing erratically as I took my tongue out of her and then proceeded to lick down her neck, behind her ear, and the hollow of her collarbone. When I eventually reached the soft valleys that were the top of her breasts. Fuck. I was going there for a bit, trying not to fucking react, but okay. How is this real? Holy shit. Which when I eventually reached the soft valleys that were the top of her breasts, which had been hidden up until now, her whole body leapt and twitched. Her arms gripped tighter together and she shook her head from side to side. Asuna, move your arms. But I want to see your breasts, Asuna. Oh my god. I caught her wrists, which were crossed together, and pulled them apart as I slowly licked and sucked my way toward the peak of the white breast that was gradually being revealed. Ah, no. Asuna's arms were finally at her sides, and her twin peaks were revealed to my eyes. The swells, which were usually hidden by the loose-fitting knight's clothing and breastplate, were bigger than I had imagined. Full and protruding sharply forward, at their tips were a pair of nipples that were difficult to distinguish from the surrounding area, standing impertinently in a cone-shaped form. Regrettably, the entire room was currently bathed in a blue glow of the moonlight, and Asuna turned on the light. Okay, wow. What? No, don't. Having accepted the rejection of my request, I sucked her left nipple into my mouth. Ah! Ignoring the shrill voice that Asuna let out at the sudden attack, I chewed on the hard nub with my lips as my tongue rolled around on the stiff tip. What the fuck sentence is that? What the hell? ah, no, no. I firmly held Asana's right hand that tried to push me away as she cried out. While her body convulsed and moved my left hand to the other breast, I squeezed her peak between my fingers, then gently used the nail of my index finger to stimulate the tip of her nipple. Oh. As I tortured between both breasts, Asana's convulsions and sweet cries rose in intensity, going a bit overboard. I bit down on the protruding object in my mouth and somewhat violently began to chew on it. What the hell? What the fuck? Oh, that's fucked up. Oh, all of this is fucked up. Okay. While at the same time the thumb and index finger of my left hand painfully twisted the other nipple. Dude, why are you doing this? What the fuck? This is fucked. Oh, no, no way. Fucking. Asana's body suddenly stiffened. Her arms, which now encircled the back of of my head, tightened their grip. No, 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 I'm just. With just my breast, I'm come. She was unable to speak after that, letting out a hoarse, high pitched cry from the depths of her throat. Asuna twitched, and her body jumped once before collapsing against me. She was still breathing heavily, her body intermittently convulsed slightly. Ah, Asuna, just now. No, 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 it's so embarrassing. I've never had anything like that happen until now. Until now. Ah. Fucking hell. Asuna ducked her body and looked down in an embarrassed manner. It's nothing, nothing at all. Tell me. I moved my left hand over to Asuna's left breast, and she leaned against me and grasped her nipple before pulling on it. No, stop, no more with the breasts. What do you mean by until now? Asuna spoke haltingly in a crying voice that was once again mixed with sweet moans. About the ethic code off, after I learned about it, I did it a couple times alone. What did you do? Ow! While thinking about Kirito played with my breasts and down below. Talking about her own fantasies seemed to have increased Asuna's masochistic side. Her breathing was gradually becoming ragged as she clung up to me. Down below, like around here. I gently moved the hand that had been abusing her breast downward. I stroked her tense stomach, then ever so slowly moved in that direction. I went over the slight swell of her abdomen, and when my fingertips reached the entrance of the two mounds, Asuna gasped as her body shook. No. Oh, God. I used the index finger and middle finger of my left hand to stimulate the area around her vagina. While taking care not to touch the center, I enjoyed the sensation of squeezing the two mounds together, then pulling them apart. This thing is fucking killing me, god damn it. Oh my god. Alright, again, another thing, let it be known, I haven't actually read this far up until now. This is horrible. Oh, God. There's still like 10 minutes left, apparently, according to Wattpad, too. Jeez. Asuna knelt down, putting both of her arms around me and moaned while burying her face in my neck as my fingers moved about, causing her body to jump and twitch. There, no. But that voice gradually became hoarse as she shook her head and wiggled her whole body. That can't. Thinking that I was teasing her too much, I gradually moved my middle finger towards the center. As Asuna let out a remarkably loud cry, my finger was enveloped in a slimy sense. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, God. No. Okay. No, we can't back down here. Holy shit. That place was seemingly endless, so hot, moist, and indescribably soft that I involuntarily stirred it with two fingers. No, no. Why would you write this? Why? Asuna cried out, and her body started to shape and shake and jump. Without regard for that, I kneaded the little knob that was peeking out from the top of the slit with my thumb while spreading it open with two fingers. God. I've lost any last bit of innocence that I had with this fucking story. Oh, God, no. Okay. No, it has to be done. God damn it. I need to like continuously convince myself that this has to be done for no reason in the slightest. It appeared that Asuna could no longer speak as she dug her nails into my back and arched her back as far as she could. No, I can't take it anymore. But in another sense, I was also at my limit. I wanted to see every single part of Asuna so badly that I pushed her down onto the bed and grabbed her legs, spreading them apart. What? Asuna came out of a hazy state and bucked her body to escape as she realized that she was in an extremely embarrassing position. But there was no way that I was going to loosen my grip now. What, Kirito? Don't look so closely. Asuna. My head raised, raised my head high. I raised my head high and looked steadily into Asuna's eyes. Oh, God. Should we turn on the light? No. Asuna forcefully rejected my suggestion as she shook her crimson red face. Giving up, I devoted myself to examining Asuna's hidden place. This is bad. Like I can't like just not say that. This is fucked. The soft, fluffy pubes were pure white and smooth without a single hair growing there. This was to say, rather than a preference of the developers, a limitation of the system itself. Hair type objects are of the extremely heavy category. As a result, aside from hair on the head and beards, there was absolutely no hair anywhere on the bodies of the SAO players. Oh boy. Okay. I did not want an explanation for this. I don't want to read this. In between the two smooth mounds was a single slit, and further into that were light-colored folds. From time to time, a clear fluid dripped out of... Oh, God. A clear fluid dripped out and flowed towards Asuna's anus before turning into beads of light and disappearing. Oh, my God. Okay. Whether it was from embarrassment or loss of strength, Asuna had stopped struggling. So I took my hand off her right foot and slowly spread the slit open. Asuna's eyes turned vacant as she moaned softly. Inside the slit, compared to the information that I had received from the net in the real world, was an unusually simple design with what I thought was peach-colored membrane spreading smoothly on the inside and bottom. The vaginal opening, which tirelessly produced clear fluid, was quietly throbbing, and in the upper part where the slit closed together, a little protrusion peeked its head out. I am defeated at this point. Like, oh God, I'm just like accepting this shit now. Like, fucking hell. Within SAO, the male players must have at least once or twice racked their brains in wondering what that part of the female players looked like. But I was experiencing a certain kind of emotion having just discovered the answer to this question. Of course, in my own lower half, there was also a certain thing, which, having swelled to its limits, was seeking release. Okay. But this was the first time since I had entered SAO that it had become like this. There is a somewhat interesting story concerning all of this. I apologize for digressing, but when SAO was under development, the Argus company had an internal closed alpha test phase during which time they reasoned that since players would have no use for genitals, it would not be necessary to objectify it. However, in reality, they found that most of the male testers would experience a certain amounts of severe anxiety. Even so, while there was no problem with playing for several hours, when they conducted consecutive tests over a 48-hour period, they found that most of the male testers who attended this trial period were unable to stand not having their genitals and gave up. Okay. So it was from the beta testing phase that the genital parts were implemented out of a sense of necessity. It seems that this was also part of the reason why SAO players were not allowed to change their characters' genders. However, even if you had your genital parts, the question that I had prior to the official start of the game, meaning before the incident, was whether or not there would be anxiety over the lack of proper function. I myself had agonized repeatedly on multiple occasions over the inability to release my pent-up energy. But now I saw that if the ethics code or whatever was disabled, then functionality, probably even ejaculation, was possible. While feeling like I had missed out on a lot by not knowing all of this until now, at this point, I faced a new question. Oh boy. Having the ethics code release function basically meant that that online virtual sex had been planned within the release of the game. SAO had many underage players, such as myself, so no matter how I thought about it, this function was to cause a lot of social outcry. Yeah, I bet. Oh god. While teasing Asuna's cute so we're just going back to the fucking okay. While teasing Asuna's cute slit with my fingertips, I raised my head and posed that very question to her. Okay. What? She's not, like, in a state to answer, my guy. Like, this is awful. Though she had spaced out in her silky eyes and her answer was punctuated by her heavy breathing, Asuna's serious disposition kicked in as she answered me. Okay. Oh, that's they plan to use SAO's system in order to provide a personal sex service. We're probably linked with that function. I see. In other words, it's probably one of those delicate arrangements. Well, enough with the well, enough with the well, enough with the chit-chat. Jeez. I used my left hand to open Asuna up as wide as possible. She wasn't immobilized anymore, but Asuna let out a sweet cry with both of her legs spread wide in the air. I brought my face close and gently pushed my tongue toward the little hole in the center. Ha! Asuna shook her head from side to side as she cried out. I softly stimulated the entrance to that hole with my tongue as I pushed my finger in and out. No, not that. Every time Asuna convulsed, a large amount of fluid would make a sticky sound in my okay. A sticky sound on my tongue as it leaked out of her vagina. Oh my god. What a way to find out I'm squeamish as shit. How have I survived this far? Having pushed my tongue into her hole and enjoyed the feeling of her constricting around me, I pushed myself up over Asuna. I was already swollen to my limit and felt like I would end up coming if I continued to explore Asuna's body more. While softly playing with her pert nipple, I covered Asuna's lips with my own and softly whispered, "Asuna, can I?" Ha. Asuna nodded vigorously as she let out a lot of breath. "Yes, make me full with your thing, Kirito." Feeling slightly dizzy at the thought of having the straight-laced invincible warrior tell me that with such a tearful face, I pressed myself against Asana's moistness. My penis caught on the entrance of her vagina as I moved it up and down. Ah ha. Asuna firmly gripped my shoulders with her arms as she squeezed her eyes closed and furrowed her eyebrows. Even in the pale blue darkness of the room, I could see that her whole body was flushed and beads of sweat shined everywhere. When I placed my hands on Asuna's sides, her hips moved slightly forward. I felt a slight resistance, but with a popping sensation, half of my penis was swallowed up inside Asuna. Ah! Even with just that, Asuna let out a scream and she arched her body to its limit. At the same time, my breath caught and I felt a numbness spreading from my penis to the rest of my body. Having pushed my entire length into Asuna, I let my desires take over as I continued to penetrate her bit by bit. Ah! Ah! God, fuck this. I hate this. I hate this with every fiber of my being. Asuna continued to scream as she continued to vigorously shake her head while her body shook. Although I briefly wondered if it hurt, I was no longer able to stop my hips from moving as my penis continued to plunge into Asuna's deepest parts with a wet slapping noise. A wet slapping noise. Ha, ha, ha. Eventually, my penis pushed all the way into the root of Asuna's vagina. Well, she was the woman whom I knew the best and loved the most. The crazy thought that I was deep inside Aincrad's top idol inside. Okay, this at this moment was spinning around my mind, making me go crazy. I somehow managed to calm my breathing as I put my mouth close to Asuna's ear and said, "It's all inside. Does it hurt?" "No, so hot. I'm going to melt." Asuna answered me in a thin, high voice as she shook her head. "Kirito, so much of you inside me." Ah. I also felt like melting from the incredible heat that I was experiencing. My penis, which was tightly gripped by Asuna, was continuously sending heat waves up my back that exploded into fireworks in my head. I was aware of Asuna's moans becoming higher and higher as I was immobilized, struggling against the sensations that threatened to overwhelm me. As if in anticipation, her slit also continued to tightly massage me with its convulsions. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's all I can say now. Like, who? Why? Well, I mean, God, no, just no more. Oh, please let it end already. This is awful. No, no way. I'm again. Asuna's voice, which sounded as if she was becoming delirious from the heat, was changing into a meltingly sweet sound, and no, again, I'm coming. Ah! She threw her head back with a jerk and ah! Screaming loudly, Asuna climaxed for the second time. That's a sentence that I fucking read out loud now. God, fuck. At the same time, my penis was squeezed in an incredible pressure, and to my horror, I felt a raging sense boiling up inside me, seeking release. Exclamation point. I bit my lip and fought against that feeling, supported by the thought that I couldn't relax when we hadn't even reciprocated once. I was somehow able to quell the urge. Panting heavily, I embraced Asuna's body, which was limp from orgasm. The fuck? I knew I didn't have much time left, so I violently pulled all the way back into the opening of her vagina before pushing in all the way in one thrust. Smack! Okay. Our bodily fluids flew back. Ah! Asuna's eyes flew open as she let out a shriek. "No, if you do that, I'm going to go crazy." Dot, dot, dot. I was once again forced to stop while deep inside of Asuna. The hot, soft sensation surrounded me as if throbbing of the folds, as if the throbbing of the folds penetrated my entire being. Ugh, jeez. Asuna had come several times already, and if we stayed like this, I would eventually end up coming. But I didn't feel like that would be a very good way to finish, so after thinking for a moment, I gently began shifting my body. Eh? Lifting up a drowsy looking asana, I moved underneath. Eventually, the two of us switched positions, with me on my back and asana in a mountain position on top of me. As soon as Asuna realized what sort of position she was in, her face turned even redder as she shook her head from side to side. No, this is embarrassing. Asuna, you try moving. What? Okay. Asuna blushed shyly as she nodded and began to gently rock her body. I'm sorry that I'm the only one feeling good. Kirito, you can come too. A sticky sound was coming from the slit that was being pierced by my penis. Asuna's movements were minimal, but the powerful numbing. Oh, I'm like losing steam here, man. Like, this is not good. I'm surprised I went that in like that long without saying like a single thing. This is no. Okay, all right. Hang on a sec. All right, okay. We've recuperated. We've took a little break. I guess we're feeling better now. All right, we got this. We got this. A sticky sound. I think I already like read part of this, but whatever. A sticky sound was coming from the slit that was being pierced by my penis. Asuna's movements were minimal, but the powerfully numbing feeling that was spreading through my body again. Okay. Right when I thought, at this rate, I'm going to come right away. Ah ha ah ha. Her voice was once again mixed with the sound of arousal. Asuna, Asuna bit down on her fingers of her right hand as she moved her hips up and down. Why am I like this? Like this? Asuna's long chestnut-colored hair flew into the air every time she shook her head. Beads of sweat also flew about, turning into light before disappearing. I'm sorry, Kirito. I'm coming. Asuna threw her body back while drawing out the last part of her sentence as she violently convulsed 2-3 times. Her breasts, which were sticking out in front of her, danced in time with those motions. I was in no position to pause and admire the sight of Asuna with her eyes scrunched closed and her teeth gritted together, looking incredibly cute, yet horribly lewd, all at the same time. That's one way to describe it. What the fuck? As Asuna's vagina gripped my penis tightly, I was once again assaulted with the powerful urge to come. Thinking that I wouldn't be able to resist it this time, I instinctively pushed up into Asuna's core with abandon. Oh god, okay. I thought that said abdomen. Oh, okay. All right, no, abandon. Grabbing her hips with my hands, I shoved my hard penis in as fast as I could before pulling out again. Being suddenly assaulted right after coming, all Asuna could do was frantically writhe about. I took her hand, which was extended toward me, and linked our fingers together. Every time I stirred up Asuna's insides, our overflowing juices would fly about as the place of our joining melted in endless heat. God, I can't with the fucking juices and shit. That's so gross. This is all just so goddamn gross. Holy shit. I'm come. Yes, let it out. Kirito, let out a lot. As I shoved myself into Asuna, I released all of the pent-up sensations that I had stretched to its limits. Asuna, I could feel. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I could feel my hot sperm gushing deep into Asuna as she trembled in yet another climax. 2 years worth of semen. Oh, wow. That, okay. 2 years worth of semen made a glopping noise as it flowed endlessly into Asuna. Every time my penis twitched, fireworks would go off in my head. Ah. After receiving all that, I had to give her. Okay. Asuna's strength gave out as she fell on top of me. Aha. I gently embraced Asuna while she continued to gasp and convulse as if she was being stimulated by the fluids inside of her body as my consciousness dimmed. To be continued. Oh my god. That's that that was horrible. That was the worst experience I've ever had. Thanks, Michael. Oh god. I'm like half asleep too. Like, jeez. All right, it's 4 a.m. That took like almost 40 minutes. My phone's about to run out of memory. Let's get this shit uploaded and then fucking question my life choices. I'm already doing that. It's too late for me, guys. It's all over. What's the point anymore? That was amazing.